that's no glory. Live and learn. Not a clean cut. I'll fix that up later. Make that little knob like that. Okay. Here. Oh, for that taper thing. Everything from this point up. This one's yeah, create a nice taper. Now they got me on voice. Okay. Time to do a little bit of wiring. I'm going to take these down a little bit like that. They're not the perfect placement, like I was telling you earlier. First branch on the right. But that, again, that's traditional bonsai. You don't need to be that traditional. But I do got some spaces between them. I'll take this one down like that, and I'll wire that down like that a little bit, and I'll take this over that way a little bit. Just to get the basic structure going on the tree. And a good start on it. For this, I'm actually going to sit down so I can see better what I'm doing. And now the tree's not so tall. Just a minute here. Now some of this excess I'm not going to need. Because more so, like if you look right now, if I leave this on, it's too much upright. But if I get rid of that piece, it has more of a nice natural slope down. Which as the tree gets older, the branches get heavy, they start to slope or drag. So, instead of taking the whole thing though, I'm going to save this little piece right through here. I got my finger on it. I got a little bit more to work with right now. Yeah. And even here. All right, if I keep spinning, I got to look at it, see where I'm at. I might save that for now, because what I might do is wire this around like that. It makes that pad look a little bit thicker right off the bat. Or even like this would work too. Get rid of what's in my hand, but it makes a little thicker pad on that first branch. Thinking about doing that. That might be a little bit too extreme to go like that. I think that's too much. You agree?
I don't know. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I like to cut stuff. It's fun. Okay. Let me get the second branch ready. Same kind of a principle. What I'll do is I'll wire this down. I'm going to get rid of this guy sticking up. I'm going to go ahead and save it up to this point. Same thing. Maybe go like that. Oh, let me try this first. It'll grow back, right? There we go.
So you always cut it when the leaves are coming out.
You want to cut past this leaf. You never want to cut back to a bare piece like that right there with nothing behind it. It probably won't back bud. I could cut right back here, which if this was my tree, I probably would. I'd cut that severe, because then I could take these two and bring them out nice and wide to get that first pad developing much quicker. But I want to leave you guys something. And somebody's going to take this home next week or so, right?
Yep.
There you go. That's just too long. I don't like this one. I'm gonna do it the opposite. I'm gonna take the bottom one off only because there's such a long. There are nodes right here that could develop new branches. I don't want to wait that long. I can basically take that down like that. Since it's the second branch, I'll shorten it up a little bit more. And we'll wire them down when I'm ready. We'll wire them down like that. The basic going here. Guy's a little big to be up high. This is way too much here. Same theory. I want to also have the taper coming in. So don't hate me. Kind of see what I'm developing through here. Just getting my different pads going, getting my shape going. I am going to wire this one over like that a little bit. I'm actually going to take this one back to about right here. Again, with that taper. I'd like to take it back to this point, but it doesn't leave much. At least here, if I do it this way, I can get growth out of both of these nodes here and on this node as well. So, and I'll wire this branch down a little bit as well. Lots of good things here. Somebody wants to. Not the ficus. Okay. And down, go down like that. I'm gonna fingers, but you get the point. Okay. Let's do a little wiring. Oh. This isn't traditional bonsai wire. This is electrical fence wiring. Traditionally, they use copper wiring. Well, not traditionally, but more so Americanized bonsai. Traditional bonsai, they would have done strictly cut and grow. I've seen some situations where they'll tie something to this, put a very heavy rock on it to weight it down. There's actually bonsai pots, training pots you can buy where they have like little loops all the way around them so you can tie it down, tie it down. Sometimes I'll do that because the wire's not cheap. I've got a whole bunch of my little thing, but it's
Different gauges. Different
oh yeah, I've got bigger stuff, smaller stuff, all kinds of sizes. Oh yeah, it comes bigger than that.
That looks like aluminum.
It is anodized aluminum, yes. Many, many sizes. Get out of there. Stuck in there good. Hey, rewrap that for me, would you? I don't normally take them out. It's not cheap. So I saved this for my own tree. But the theory of the wire is if you can take your fingers and bend the branch like that, and I wire that, can I bend this the same force? This would take care of this branch, no problem. If I wanted to bend this trunk, I'm pushing pretty darn hard right now. This probably wouldn't even be big enough.
Is copper okay to use?
Yeah, copper is actually better. It lasts longer. The standardized stuff eventually does start to break down. I mean, it works, but it just starts to break down over time.
Once it breaks down, though, isn't it already trained to?
Pretty much. Well, when I do wire this, it's only going to be for a week or two. It won't take long.
Oh, really?
Because once I start on this thing, all this cutting I've been doing, it's going to start sending sap up all these branches to repair the cuts I made. It's going to make it bud out.
Okay.
So when it's doing that, being held like that for a couple weeks, the sap flow will slow down once it buds. Because it's going to start getting warm. At least I hope it's going to start getting warm. And then it'll harden up. Especially maples, you got to watch. The wire will grow into the bark very quickly. Very quickly. Doesn't take long. He got hung up. I was very upset about that. So he got hung up there. All right. Let's do a couple branches here. When you're wiring a tree, you want to basically look at which way you're willing to pull that branch down. I want to pull this branch down like that. So I want to make sure when I wrap, I come around the top side this way to pull the branch down. So I'm going to start on the back side. Kind of anchor around the tree a little bit until I get up to the branch I want to do. And since I want to bend it down, I'll come over the top like that. Just kind of coil. I don't need to get really super tight on the branch. Big thing is I got to watch when I go to bend it that I got to hold it at the same time. If I don't do that and I go to bend that wire, snap, I'm going to break the branch right off. Right off. Very quickly. Oh, you know how to do that, I'll do it. Okay. Now since it's the front, I want to try to bring it around this way at the same time. And again, with maples, this is about as big as much as I can bend the branches. Much bigger than that, you can't bend it, it'll just break. Even bending this is going to be difficult. What I'll probably do is I'll bring this over, and then when I go to repot it, I'll give it a slight lean so it looks better. Okay. All right, first one's close. Now we're going to do the second branch, getting down about just a teeny bit on him. How do you know how much wire to pull out? Comes with practice. I got pretty lucky on that one. Sometimes I'll end up short, sometimes I'll end up a mile long. This electrical wiring for fencing doesn't last very long. It'll rust out in about 6 to 8 weeks. It'll start rusting. But it held that.
That's bare wire. It's not coated.
It's coated, but it don't last long. It seems to rust on me pretty quick. That's cheap.
When you take it off, do you just make a lot of little cuts?
It's really probably the safest way to do it. You can try unwrapping it, but you be careful. You'll end up breaking the branch. That's why these wire cutters are designed. I can go right up to it, but I'm not cutting myself. So I can grab against that trunk, cut that right off, and not mar the trunk. It's the safest way to do it. I don't normally like to crisscross my wires. I'm going to follow this one, even though it's kind of going the wrong way, but I'll make it work. Just looks neat of how the wires facing the same direction. I can make it right. Go across this way and get across the top. I'll go around one more, maybe. No, I won't go around this one. I'm going to go over the top because I want to bend it down. Luis likes to wire his trees. He wires them like crazy. I guess I'm just cheap. I do a lot of the cut and grow. I do a lot of the taking strings and pulling them down to the side of the pot. It works. It does the job.
Once a wire are mainly the cycles.
Yeah.
They can take it. They can forget about the wire for a long time.
They're pretty tough.
They'll disappear. The marks on the cycles will disappear.
Yeah, they grow so quick. I got a little long on this one. Oops, wrong one. Got the right tool. Actually, don't cut that. No, too late now. I cut it. I want to pull that down. Do this then. See what I can do. That'll work. I want to get this pushed down a little bit. Once I wrap around this one a minute, it'll hold that in place. I don't need to go too crazy with this. Such thin branches, they'll go down pretty easy on me. I know it's got this curl, but it will adjust itself by reaching back up to the sunlight. I want to bring this one over just a little bit more to the front. Okay. Thank you, sir. Stop falling.
You have to start all the way at the bottom again.
You really should anchor it into the root. I sometimes will wrap around a branch. I probably could get away with wrapping around a branch on these because they're so small. If you're doing larger branches, you want to start all the way at the bottom. You have a question, ask. I get in the zone. I don't stop. See where I'm at here. I'm going towards that branch. And then come across the top of the branch. Okay, here. I'm going to go too much. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave it just like that. I don't want to get too much to the front. A little bit, but not overkill. Take that one. Yeah, see, we're going to take that one back like that. I'll trade that a question.
Maybe we lost subject. Have you ever done holly?
Traditional hollies, no, I have not. Japanese hollies. Japanese
like
hollies.
holly bushes in our yard, but then some of them look like trees
Oh,
now.
they big. Hollies get huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll go 8, 10 foot high, 8, 10 foot wide. So you could do bonsai of that. I've just never done it.
Dragon lady bonsai or holly.
Yeah, you like getting scratched to death.
Some like they're growing in the back, in a wooded area.
Let me get another piece of wire going here.
A little taller than this thing. There's something like this, just growing around.
By definition, bonus pot size plant. So when you plant in the pot, there's a bonsai. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but basically, that's the theory of it. They love nature so much, they wanted to bring nature into their homes, and that's how bonsai kind of became, so to speak. They would miniaturize it into trays and pots. Technically, bone is not pot, it's tray. The advantage of the copper wire over what I'm using here, it looks a lot neater. This is kind of not very pretty wire.
But again, you said you were only going to have this on there for a couple of weeks.
Yes, yes.
When would you have to do the copper wire that you have to have it on longer?
You can't even have it along with the copper wire. You just have to kind of watch the tree.
Okay.
As you're watering it daily, I'm going to be looking at the points where I know it's rubbing pretty hard. If I start to see the bark starting to grow over the wire, it's coming off.
Would you potentially rewire it?
You could, definitely. He does his tree sometimes a couple times a year or more.
Yeah, it the shape that you want.
Bonsai is a hobby of patience.
Yes.
It definitely takes a lot of patience. Even something like this, for it to really be nice and be up on the display here, so to speak. It could be another 3 years till it really looks good. Getting there? One more to get that up like that, little bend there. Yeah, nice little start of a tree.
Now I have a question.
Certainly.
You kept this one because it wasn't straight up, but then it looks like you're bending it back.
It's more so I'm going for the taper. A little bit
Okay.
big, a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller. A few years, all these cuts like that are made, they'll kind of scar over and you have a nice taper to the tree. Let's see how close I can get on this one. This is going to be a long piece of wire.
You're not going to cut that down anymore?
Nope. I'm going to basically wire it and try to get it up over this way a little bit. I might take a secondary wire and try to get a little separation on them. Kind of open up like that.
But over the next 3 years or whatever?
Like this will become my leader, this will become a branch.
Yeah.
But over the next 3 years, would you let that continue to go higher?
Not a whole lot. A few inches. Few inches.
And get the lower part to fill out.
Correct.
So we should keep trimming the top, the lower ones off.
Well, from trimming these and that, what I've done here, every cut I made, it's going to backbud like crazy. It's going to start putting little leaves all over the place, even down through here, everything. It buds down through here. I'm trying to.
How soon would that be that they would start?
Oh,
budding?
4 to 6 weeks,
Okay. So really
maybe less.
quickly.
Very quickly.
Get this once it goes off?
I'm going to pinch off what I don't want, or what you don't want.
How long into the season does it do that? Until frost?
Japanese maples will generally push growth about the end of June, early July.
Oh,
They'll
okay.
slow
Not
down.
that much
They
longer.
might push through July. Usually in August, late July, August, they'll stop.
Okay.
It's too hot and they know it. They chill out for a little bit. But then once we get past August and September, Japanese maples start flushing again. And they'll flush like crazy.
Put about 2 inches into the ground.
Yeah, a couple inches.
But you could do the same wire treatment with something like he was talking about that's already planted in the ground.
Yeah, you could. It's no different than doing like topiary.
Yeah.
I don't do them as much as I used to, but I used to make like animals out of arborvitaes. I had a full-size deer with antlers and everything in my yard. And I would use the wire to get the ears out like this, flat, because they just want to grow up. So I take wire and wire the ears back like that. I had the antlers, I had really thick wire, I mean, almost as big as my finger, that I made the actual shape of the antlers. And I took the arborvitae, I just kind of tied it to those wires until it grew into that full shape.
And it was planted.
Just planted in my yard, yeah. Maybe 2 arborvitaes. I planted one straight and one like this and bent it over, and there was the body. There became the head and the antlers.
Wow.
I made deer laying down, take an arborvitae, take all the branches off one side, take this half the root ball off so I can lay it over like this. And I would just bend it. There's the mom laying down on the ground. Take one branch, pull it up, there's her head.
Look online for the bonsai village. They do the entire landscape like that.
I've gotten rid of all those, but I do want to do one more. I want to do my dragon. I want to take arborvitaes and arch them together to make the dragon come in out of the ground. I have a big Zen garden. I want to go about halfway around the Zen garden and have it turned towards the house with the dragon head. And I'm going to take a globe arborvitae or a boxwood maybe for the ball that he has his foot up on. And then the other arm out like this and he's looking at the house. It's on my to-do list. It won't take me long. I can do the arches in probably 2 seasons. The head and the feet will take a little bit longer. The head will take longer, but not much.
That's
Yeah, interesting idea of actually kind of, I don't think consider bonsai, permanently growing in your yard.
yeah. That's right. I think you
You
said it
you
was
kind of
topiary.
can. You
It's
just
topiary. It's the same idea though.
same principle.
Yeah.
Won't be in a pot.
I mean, something that's deciduous in the yard, like if you were to plant this maple or some kind of a maple in your yard, you won't be able to keep up with it. It's going to grow so fast. But you put like a Scotch pine, you make those beautiful pom-pom or poodle trees. They take beautifully to pruning. You can make a bonsai, 3-4 foot high, beautiful bonsai. You just got to prune it 2 or 3 times a year. You're willing to do that. Can't see. Don't want to break this top. I'm gonna wire that one over that way a little bit, and after I do it, I'll get rid of some of these pieces hanging down. So, one more. These ain't quite long enough. Nope.
Start all the way at the bottom again?
No, it's just this little piece I gotta pull over like that. Yeah, I'll just go around one of these branches. I mean, I could. Technically, you're supposed to. But we're not.
We're not that technical.
We're not that technical. If I was ever to get into bonsai shows,
Safe with us, I even stopped filming.
if I was to get into competitions, it is acceptable to have your tree wired in the competition. It did used to be, but some of these trees take years to develop, and they allow it now as long as the wiring is done very neatly. You have multiple rows, but they're all together nice and tight. It looks pretty, they'll accept it.
They have competitions for this.
Oh yeah, world competitions even. Yeah, bonsai shows, but it's not necessarily competition. But at each show, they'll have people judging the trees at the show. The last one we went to was down in Columbus. Down at, was it Dobbs Arboretum? Not Dobbs, I forget what it was. And we nailed it. We were like, that's going to be the tree that wins. And a friend was like, no, it'd be this one. This one's pretty. I said, that was simplicity. It's just simple. Wasn't much bigger than this. And they had some trees in there bigger than what I got. And that's the one that won. The simplicity of it. You don't need to be gigantic to be pretty. All right, we got to get this branch over like that, and we're pretty much there. It's not starting at the bottom. It's just easier.
It looks simple, but it looked like somebody put a lot of work.
Yeah, even though it was so simple like that, it still was very, very showy.
Now, do they, when you go to these shows, are they cutting them there like? Or do they
the guys
sell
are
it
there
already
to sell
done?
material. Like there's a guy locally that does bonsai for a living, and he goes to all different shows. He brings in small trees he's been growing. Those the bald cypress you were looking at over there, that's some of his stuff. He was in a good mood that day. He gave me some. That doesn't happen long with him. We almost didn't make this long enough. We only did pull it over and down, so we're good. We can make it work. Can't see. Take care of your eyes. Too late. Too late. Biggest mistake I ever made. Getting glasses. I should have just kept going and not seeing stuff. I was going to get LASIK done. I got cataracts. So I got to wait about 2 more years to get my cataracts taken out. And then I'm getting LASIK. Or not LASIK, but he's going to put permanent lenses in.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can get lenses replaced.
Yep. I was like, okay, that sounds good. He goes, who knows, between now and then we might have something better.
Right.
All right, time to take some pieces off the bottom here. Again, I don't want stuff growing down. And not too much upright growth.
Wow.
We have the start of a bonsai tree. Now when I repot it, I'll tip it like that a little bit. It's kind of falling towards you, and I can't bend this. This'll.
You're going to falling towards this guy.
Yeah, this is the front of the tree. That's that front, and there's the front view of the bonsai. It's kind of leaning that way a little bit, but if I simply repot it like that, it's not doing that anymore.
But when you take it out of this pot,
Mhm.
you'll take a lot of the roots off.
Yes. I won't do it right now. These are not super strong in the pot. They're not bad. Yeah, good. It's only June.
In essence, you're saying you're going to wait a while before you put that in the small pot?
If it was mine at home, I would do it right now. But since I am going to raffle this off, it's going to put more stress on it. And I'm worried that you guys might neglect it a little bit. And then it's going to die on you. And not intentional neglect.
You could also go that way too. Love it too much.
Yeah. Yeah, you're watering it too much.
I think that's what he's saying. He hates to do all this work and now let's kill it.
You better steal
Well, every once in a while, the people that win these will bring them back, and they're still alive.
I was gonna say dead.
But unfortunately, yeah, sometimes in the first year they kill them.
Really?
I don't know what I tell them everything I possibly can. When it's in a pot like this, in this type of soil, you're still going to water pretty much every day, to be honest. Unless it really rains, the actual dirt will hold the moisture much longer. Whereas the bonsai soil, it's a soilless mix. You have yours over there now. I was going to show them, but it's all about drainage. When you grow a tree in a pot its whole life, it can't grow in dirt like this. When it's in your yard, the root structure goes way past where the original pot was, and it can handle the extra moisture in the soil to a point. But you can't get root rot in a tree in the ground as well. If it's too wet of an area and you put an evergreen in there, it can't handle it. It gets root rot, starts wilting and dies. When you're in a confined space like this, root rot can happen really, really quick. That's why you want to transition to bonsai soil. So in a soil like this, you're going to water it probably every day, if not maybe every other day. But once in the bonsai soil, because of the drainage aspect, you definitely want it every day. Even if it rains, still water it. It's going to dry out.
Even if it rains.
Unless it's an all-night soaker rain. Plus, once these pads are developed about that thick, and how's the water going to get to the pot? Even though it rained all night, you can walk underneath your tree in the yard after it's done. It's generally dry. These will stop it. And it will in these too. Some of my big ones, I'll go out in the morning after rain. There's a dry spot right on the pot. You can see it plain as day.
When you pull it out, how much of the roots do you cut back?
About half.
About half?
Like I said, if this was going to stay here at the nursery and wasn't going to auction it out, raffle it off, I would do it right now. You win it, you take it home, you keep it alive in the winter. And in the winter time, I'm sure I explained it to you guys. I don't know if I explained it to you or not. The tree needs to go dormant. This is a tree that grows outside. You have to let it go dormant during the winter time. And how you do that is you can't. Some guys around here will set them on the north side of the house, which is out of the worst of the winter winds. You think our winds come from the north, but they don't. Our worst winter winds actually come from the south. North side of the house, they'll bury it in mulch up to here. You're generally safe. But we get that occasional winter where it goes down way below zero. You're no longer safe. Now you got wind chill hitting this tree constantly. Got to confine roots. Even in this, has confined roots. All of our shrubs here at the nursery, we put in the loop huts up top. They're just covered in plastic. We'll pack away 2,000 to 3,000 shrubs. We might lose 3 or 4, if that. That sheet of plastic, the wind chill's not an issue now. I keep mine in something similar to that. It's just got like a vinyl tarp on it. I keep a little thermometer and I watch it in the winter. It never goes below maybe 27, 28 degrees in there. I do give them water though during the winter. If you happen to win this, same thing. Put it somewhere like in a Rubbermaid container, a shed. I don't really like the garage aspect, especially if it's a garage you use. Every time you pull your car in there, there's fumes coming off the engine, fumes off the exhaust. Plus, it's kind of cold. You open the door, it's up drastically cold. Close the door. Open the door up, back to drastically cold. Too many changes. Fluctuating too much. Somewhere solid like a shed is really your best bet. Or a big Rubbermaid container. Black. The darker it is, the better. If the streets are completely dark in the wintertime, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, is the greenhouse going to get too hot?
You got to watch it come spring. We have to watch these up here too. They start opening the doors early. I put these in the shed here at the nursery, except for the big ones I have to put up top. And I keep an eye on them. Yeah, once we start getting them 40, 50 degree days, that greenhouse pops up to 70 or better. And this will start growing. It's okay in one point, but then we go back down to 20. It's northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
Weather's constantly changing. You never know what you're going to get. That's why the dark's actually better. It'll stay cooler in there.
Now, you had said before that the soil depth is approximately the same as the trunk.
It just makes the tree appear larger. Something as small as this, you're going to go to a pot every bit that big, so you can slowly get that root system cut down.
Okay.
So that's to start it, and then as it ages, then you can trim the root ball back more.
Correct. First initial cut, you cut it about in half. You'll just rake it apart a little bit on the sides, a little bit on the bottom. Maybe gently wash off a little bit of that soil to expose some of them roots. And even though you cut it with a big heavy saw, I mean, I'll literally take something like this and I'll lay it on the side and I'll just cut right through like that, straight through the other side. And then what I'll do at that point is I'll take a root rake. Got different sizes of them. I'll rake the soil off on the bottom especially. I use these for the big boys. This little guy here pretty much takes care of the small stuff. You just rake it loose. I'll rake loose probably about maybe an inch or so back, all the way on the sides, all the way on the bottom, a good inch or so. And after doing that, I'm kind of tearing the roots. They all get a little haircut. Because torn roots won't bud out. Not bud, but they won't like branch out. Because roots are just like the branches up here. If you tear it just scars it. Well, by doing this, I'm tearing it. So after I'm done tearing it, That inch or so I cut off, I'll cut clear back to maybe a 1/4 inch. Nice clean cut now. That'll root out better. It'll spider web out. You don't want big roots. Over the years, as you repot every couple of years, your roots start getting much bigger than this or to this size. Time to get rid of them. You don't need anchoring roots. The little hair roots, the little fibrous roots, these are your feeders. This absorbs all the nutrients, all the water, and that's all this guy needs. He doesn't need to be anchored in. How he'll get anchored is I actually wire them to the pots themselves. You'll notice at the bottom of the bonsai pots, there's big holes for drainage. There's usually secondary small holes, and that's so you can wire your tree to the pot. This is actually wired to the pot itself. Knock on wood, my trees are very heavily exposed to the west. We get a bad storm. I got lawn branches going across the room, across the garage or the yard. My bonsai trees, they don't go nowhere. That wind's got to blow this, plus that heavy clay pot. I ain't never lost a one yet. Again, knock on wood. Just jinxed myself. That's a lot. I mean, these are very heavy. That's why I worry about going to clay pots. At that point, I might actually pass them to my tables that I haven't sitting on, because the clay pot's not nearly as heavy. Plastic pots like this, they will blow over in the wind. And clay pots will not. They're heavy. Try to lift that purple one up, that bluish one there. That's probably 175 pounds. That sucker's heavy. That ain't going nowhere. That takes a tornado. At that point, ain't nothing going to hold in place. Any questions?
Thank you.
No problem.
Is there a special fertilizer you need to use?
I wouldn't say there's a special. Everybody has their opinion on that one. To make it simple, here at the nursery, we sell what's called an all-season fertilizer. These little green pellets. It's in every tree and shrub that we buy. They all have it. The advantage of it, it's almost like the old Osmocote. It's a slow release. It feeds for 4 months continuously. What's nice about this particular one over Osmocote is it's both temperature sensitive and moisture sensitive. Once it goes below 40 degrees, it will no longer release fertilizer. So it won't force your plants to grow when they shouldn't be. Moisture and the humidity in the air, rain, that's what activates it. Each little green pellet has a different thickness to the shell. They release at different rates.
So I could put that in my garden and
Yep.
bonsai by my trees.
Yes, you just wouldn't want to use these green pellets if it's a garden that you eat things out of.
Okay.
No vegetables, no raspberries, blueberries, things like that. Because this fertilizer does release some metal toxins in the soil. And you wouldn't want to eat that. Because it would be absorbed into your peppers or your lettuce. Not good. But for this kind of stuff, it's great. Some guys mix up their own fertilizers. I'm doing a combination myself of this. I also use tree tone, holly tone, and I'm going one step further. He's confined space. He's only going to feed what you give him. So I'm doing this, plus the holly tone, tree tone, plus now I'm using the Happy Farm, or Happy Frog, the Grow Big. It's very, very low numbers, but it's all natural how it's conceived. Maybe with bat guano, earthworm castings, things like that. So it's a nice natural feeding. And I only do that once a week. I'll water with it once a week. Like I said, I water every day. You can. It's not bad, not bad. It don't last quite as long. But like I said, with the tree tone, this would get tree tone. Holly tone, any evergreens I have would get holly tone.
You dissolve the holly tone in water?
Nope. I just mix it right in. When I'm repotting, I'll mix my holly tone and tree tone right in here when I repot, along with the green pellets as well. They're both a slow release. Holly tone and tree tone are a little faster release, but it's fine. I've never had no problems with it. That's a basic start of how to make your own bonsai, in a sense.
Very cool.
Yeah, very informative. Thank you very much.
No problem.